Here's one of the questions we'd like to ask in one of our exit polls. Which candidate did you pick for mayor? For this question, there are only 3 possible answers we'll accept, which you see here. So what kind of data structure should we use to store these 3 choices? Well, there's a few different possibilities, but the most likely choice would be an Elixir list. The way you create a list is by keying a set of square brackets, then in between the square brackets, you'd add the values you'd like included in the list, separated by commas. So in our example, we'd add each of these 3 choices, separated with a comma. Now in this example, every element of the list is the same data type. They're strings. But keep in mind, you can mix different data types in a list. So for example, you could have a list that includes the number pi, the string pi, and the atom pi. Lists in Elixir might seem like arrays you're familiar with in other languages, but they're different. Let me explain. When people think of arrays, they're often thinking of a list-like structure that's stored sequentially in memory. In other words, the array is contained in contiguous memory, and the array's elements can be quickly accessed by their associated index, where the first element of the array is at index 0, and the second element is in index 1, and so on. But this isn't how lists work in Elixir. Okay, so how are lists in Elixir different than arrays? Well, lists in Elixir are more accurately called singly linked lists, and they aren't stored in contiguous memory. Let's consider how this example list is stored in memory. The first element of the list, the string Will Ferrell, is conceptually stored in what we'll call a node or a cons, which you can think of as a container that holds 2 things. First, it holds the actual data for the node, such as the string Will Ferrell, and the other thing the node contains is a reference or a link that generally points to another node. So in our example, the Will Ferrell node points to the Kristen Wiig node. I think it's important to reiterate that these 2 nodes typically aren't stored next to each other in memory like you'd expect in an array. Now this node, the one that contains the string Kristen Wiig, also contains a second piece of data. So what do you think this second piece of data is? Well, just like the Will Ferrell node, it links to another node, which contains the string Tina Fey. Now, since there are only 3 elements in this list, the last node doesn't actually link to another node because there is no other node. It instead links to some sort of terminator that indicates that this node is the last element in a list. So what are some of the differences between linked lists and arrays? Well, linked lists and arrays have very different performance characteristics. For example, consider what's required to find the length of both a linked list and an array. If we want to know the size of a linked list, well, the only way to find out is to walk the list, counting each node until you arrive at the last node. The key thing to recognize here is the length must be calculated, and the cost of calculating the length varies linearly with the size of the list. In other words, if you've got a really long list, figuring out the length can be pretty costly. Now in contrast, if you want to know the size of an array, you don't need to traverse it because an array always knows its size. So if you ask for an array's size, it just tells you. It doesn't have to calculate it. It's a known attribute of the array. Consider another big difference between linked lists and arrays. Imagine you've got an array that has 10 elements in it, and you want to add another element to it. Now, keep in mind, the original array only has enough contiguous memory for 10 elements. So to add an additional element, a new chunk of memory must be allocated that can store at least 11 elements. Then the 10 existing elements, plus the 1 new element, must be copied over into the new chunk of contiguous memory. This operation can be pretty expensive. Okay, now let's consider what happens when we add a new element to a linked list. Now, the first question you might have is, where should I add the new element? Well, obviously that may depend on the problem you're trying to solve, but for discussion's sake, let's say it doesn't matter where you put it, so the choice is yours. So should you put the new element in the front of the list? At the back of the list? Or maybe somewhere else? Well, one option would be to add the new element to the front of the list. Then the new node just needs to point to the element that was previously in front of the list. This operation is very cheap, especially compared to what happened when we added an element to an array. But what if we wanted to add an element to the end of the list? Or maybe somewhere in the middle of the list? Well, that might not be a cheap operation. Let's consider the worst case scenario, which would be adding a new element to the end of a list. Now, there's two costs to consider when adding an element to a linked list: the cost of linking an element and the cost of finding the element to link to. The first cost is relatively cheap. It's just updating a node to point to another node. However, the second cost, the cost of finding the element that you need to link to, can be relatively expensive. For example, if I've got a variable named candidates and it's pointing to this linked list, in reality it's just pointing to the first element of the list, which is referred to as the head here. But to append an element onto the end, I need to find the end. In other words, I need to find this node, and in Elixir, the only way to find the end is to walk the entire list, and once the last element is found, then we can perform the relatively cheap operation of linking the elements. So here's the key thing to remember about lists in Elixir. Generally speaking, if you need to add an element to a list, you should prefer prepending to a list because it's cheap. Does that mean you should never ever append to a list? No, not necessarily. If it's desirable to append to the list, and if you're dealing with small lists, the cost could be negligible. The key takeaway here is it's important to know the implications of appending elements or inserting elements into a list. Okay, so how do you actually prepend and append elements to a list? We'll look at those operations and more in the next video.